Hello, and thank you for tuning in to my series, You've Been Found Guilty, Now What? Federal and white-collar sentencing options. Today we're going to be discuss self-surrendering and the process. So the court has agreed to let you self-surrender. This is great. Now, all you have to do is show up on the specified date. Your family you can spend some time with, you've planned to drive, you have decided that you're going to show up at the correct institution, the correct time, right? Everything's planned out, and your attorney's done a great job. Wrong. And why is it wrong? Well, it doesn't happen often, but if you arrive before the judge and the court orders have made their way to the prison, they don't know you're coming. And so what happens is that no matter how infrequent, you may want to find yourself in solitary confinement. And this can be even though you are going to a camp, be it satellite camp or federal prison camp. Not true. If you're going to a federal prison camp, they don't have solitary. But if you're going to a satellite camp, it does happen. So let's go through the process. The court has given the order, and you assume that it's going to go get to the prison before you get there. But let's go back and understand assumptions. Or Ronald Regan, trust but verify. So what does assume mean? Or we're going to go back in time. For me, I was 35 years old, and one of my nurses took me aside and taught me the definition of assume. With a pencil and paper, she wrote the word assume, and she drew a line between the letter U, before the letter U, and after the letter U. And that's when, at the age 35, I learned the word assume and never to assume again. And now you too understand. So now here we have Ronald Reagan's trust, but without the verification. And so no matter how infrequent this may happen, you don't want it to happen to you. And so once you've arrived at the institution, the correction staff is going to take your ID, social security card, and even though they don't have the court records, they're not going to tell you. They're not going to let you go home. If they have to, they may hold you. And they told me they could hold you up to a month. And so this can turn an innocuous first-timer's introduction into the prison environment into a nightmare. And this whole process could have been prevented with just a little effort on the part of the legal team with a phone call to the prison and to the Marshal Service. So let's see the steps that can ensure smoother transition. The attorney can make a verification call to both the prison and to the Marshal Service to make sure before you get there that the court orders have arrived. If you're going to a satellite camp, you should also know that you present not to the satellite camp, but you have to present to the higher secure facility. And why is that important? Well, when I went to the satellite camp, I went to the higher secure facility. I didn't want to present there. I saw a bunch of guys walking around with guns, handcuffs, and shackles. I had never been shackled or handcuffed to that date. In fact, to this day, I had never had a handcuff put on me. But a heads up at least will give someone who's now presenting to or self-surrendering to the prison an understanding that this is what they may see. Because each person deals with the emotional aspects the first time in their own way. Once you're screened, they're going to give you a change of clothes, and what you're wearing in addition to items that they don't want you to have will be boxed up and returned to your legal residence. They're going to keep your birth certificate, passport, driver's license, along with social security card, and all this will be kept until the end of your incarceration, where it will be returned to you. Legal papers, along with personal addresses and phone numbers, you're allowed to keep. Our next YouTube is going to cover COVID, but more specifically, post-COVID or long hauler symptoms. And are any prisons or jails, are they prepared to care for you? And my opinion and what I'll go into is that it may be beyond their mission. Should you have questions, feel free to contact me. I hope you found this helpful. My email, phone number, doing a Google search, articles that have been published are all included here. And I hope you all have stay safe, and I hope you found this helpful.